You know the feeling. It's late at night and the world around you has gone completely quiet. Your eyes are heavy and you are utterly exhausted from the long day behind you. You told yourself just 5 more minutes over an hour ago. But somehow your thumb keeps moving almost automatically. You swipe through one video after another without even thinking about it. You scroll through endless posts as if your mind is searching for something important. And then you swipe again, hoping the next post might feel different. You're watching strangers live their lives, watching friends hit milestones, watching a world move forward while you are lying perfectly still in the dark. You want to put the phone down, but something inside you makes it feel surprisingly difficult. So the real question slowly appears in your mind. Why does this keep happening even when you want to stop? We call it FOMO, which stands for the fear of missing out. But what if it isn't just about missing a party, a vacation, or a viral trend everyone is talking about? What if the psychology behind why you can't stop scrolling is actually a desperate attempt by your brain to find something it deeply craves? Connection, relief, and proof that you exist. Welcome back to the channel where we explore the hidden psychology behind everyday behaviors. Today, we are going to uncover the deeper psychology of FOMO and endless scrolling. We are going to explore what you are really searching for behind the screen and how you can finally break the loop to reclaim your life. To understand why we are trapped in the scroll, we first need to understand how our brains are wired. Every time we engage with social media, every like, comment, and new video, our brain releases dopamine, the exact same chemical involved in reward and addiction. Over time, our nervous system slowly becomes conditioned to crave that digital validation again and again. This traps us in a cycle where we slowly start thinking in terms of shareable moments rather than real lived experiences. But the psychology of endless scrolling is rarely just about chasing pleasure or entertainment. For many people, it is actually a clever but imperfect adaptation to escape emotional pain. When you are carrying the weight of stress, emotional exhaustion, or unresolved loneliness, ordinary joys can begin to feel strangely muted. But when you stumble upon endless scrolling on your phone, the brain suddenly lights up with stimulation and novelty. It feels almost like your mind has been waiting for this distraction the entire day. In a quiet way, your brain whispers something comforting. It whispers that finally there is a moment of relief from everything else. And suddenly, scrolling becomes a shortcut to comfort when your internal world feels too loud or too heavy to sit with. The problem is that this digital escape slowly turns into a psychological trap. As you scroll through social media late at night, comparisons begin happening automatically in your mind. You compare your messy, unfinished, behind-the-scenes life with everyone else's carefully filtered highlight reel. You see perfect relationships, exciting travel photos, career wins, and aesthetically perfect lifestyles. Slowly, a familiar heaviness appears in your chest without you even noticing. It is the quiet but persistent feeling that somehow you are falling behind. This creates something psychologists often describe as emotional fatigue. You are constantly witnessing everyone else's peak moments while trying to navigate your own complicated life. Even when you logically know social media shows only a tiny fraction of reality, the comparison still affects you emotionally. Over the past decade, we have been conditioned by dopamine loops to equate digital validation with personal value. We begin measuring our worth through visibility and engagement. We slowly start believing a dangerous psychological lie. The lie that to matter in this world, we must always be visible and constantly connected. FOMO is rarely about missing a specific event or trend. At its core, it is the deeper psychological fear of becoming invisible. We keep scrolling because human beings are biologically wired for belonging and connection. For most of human history, being separated from the group meant vulnerability and danger. Because of this, our nervous system interprets feelings of exclusion as a serious threat. When we feel disconnected, our instincts push us to reconnect as quickly as possible. The smartphone becomes the fastest and easiest way to satisfy that instinct. It offers a quick illusion of belonging through posts, comments, and reactions. But the connection we find there is often shallow and temporary. Endless scrolling cannot replace the deep connection that comes from being truly seen and understood by another person. Real connection requires presence, vulnerability, and shared experience. Yet many of us continue feeding ourselves the emotional junk food of algorithm-driven content. Just like junk food, it feels satisfying for a brief moment. But afterward, it often leaves us emotionally undernourished and strangely more exhausted than before. So naturally, an important question begins to appear. How do we stop this pattern once we recognize it? How do we break a habit that is biologically and psychologically engineered to keep us hooked? The answer is not simply throwing your phone away or pretending technology does not exist. The real solution begins by redefining your relationship with your own attention and your own life. It starts with consciously taking back control of where your focus goes. Research consistently shows that taking intentional breaks from comparison-driven platforms improves both self-esteem and life satisfaction. When you step away from the digital noise, something interesting begins to happen. You stop performing your life for an invisible audience. Instead, you begin experiencing your life directly. You start noticing the quiet moments that social media rarely captures. Your private victories begin to feel meaningful again. Your slow personal growth becomes something you can actually appreciate. Even simple laughter with a close friend begins to feel more valuable than any online validation. You begin building an identity that feels solid and grounded. Your sense of worth no longer depends on likes, comments, or attention from strangers. Slowly, you realize something powerful. Your worth never disappeared just because nobody was watching. So the next time you notice yourself trapped in that familiar midnight scrolling loop, pause for a moment. Take a slow breath and gently bring your attention back to the present moment. Remind yourself that the screen in your hand cannot provide the connection you are truly looking for. It cannot give you lasting peace or meaningful belonging. Real meaning in life does not need an audience or digital witnesses. You do not need to keep scrolling to prove that you belong in this world. Instead, try placing the phone down and allowing the room to become quiet again. Let yourself simply exist without constant stimulation. The life you are afraid of missing is not happening inside that glowing rectangle. Your real life is unfolding right now in the quiet space around you. And most importantly, it is unfolding within you. You are already enough exactly as you are. Even when no one is watching, your existence still matters. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this video helped you feel a little more grounded, consider sharing it with someone who might need the same reminder. Subscribe for more insights into psychology, human behavior, and emotional well-being. And I will see you again in the next video.